Give me a second. And welcome to a surprise episode of The Hobby According to Me. Surprise! He just loves hitting the beeper now. It's hilarious. So it's been a while since we've been able to sit down and talk to you guys about the hobby. It is Mike Lucio from Rocket Sports Cards. We are live right now, so if you're watching right now, feel free to chime in. We're gonna touch on a very important subject tonight. The hobby world has been shaken to its core with the announcement from PSA, Pro Sports Authenticator, that they are shutting down services until July. So we're going to go over what's going to happen, what I think is going to happen with that, maybe the fallout of what's going to happen once it resumes, and what's going to happen until then. We're going to go over a few things. Show should run probably 10-15 minutes tonight. It's not going to be a real long one with only one topic, but let me know what you guys think. Obviously, it was major news yesterday coming across the wire. If we can throw it up on the screen there. Full 12 months of benefits. So nothing's really going to change other than the fact that if you were hoping to submit some cards to PSA, that's not going to happen. Sean thinks it's great news. If anybody else is online right now and wants to chime in on this, we're all ears. I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen with PSA. We currently have hundreds of submissions sitting there. We have one order going as far back as last September, so we're quickly approaching. We're not quite a year, but we're about 6 months right now. With rumors that value subscriptions were taking 8 to 9 months to come through, it does look like that is the reality of it. I like the timing of PSA announcing this. For those of you that follow the hobby, NBA Prism just got released yesterday or this week. Why is that a big deal? Because of the fact that Prism's getting ripped in mass right now. Prism's getting ripped by collectors, mostly in the US and other places in the world. We don't get a ton of it here in Canada. But it's important for them to shut things down right now, because I guarantee you the strategy behind this was, let's shut down submissions right now, because we're literally going to get 20,000 LeBron James base cards in the mail in the next week or so, and we're going to get to that. I'm not talking like a silver prism or a hollow. I'm talking just sending these in, and it's a major problem in the hobby right now. That's one of the reasons why PSA is so backlogged. So we'll go over that in a few minutes. And it also comes on the not the eve of Top Series 1 baseball also releasing. We're here in Canada, so we deal mostly in hockey cards, but we do quite a bit of baseball as well. Top Series 1 just came out. All the key rookies from that set are also going to be graded in the next few months, or submitted for grading. It's getting ripped in mass right now, so that's why submissions are coming in so fast that they just can't keep up. I think it was a strategic thing to shut it down with the release of Prism, because honestly, Prism's one of the most graded types of cards on the planet, especially basketball. So we'll get to that. But why is this happening? As a shop owner, I can tell you right now that at least 3-4 times a day, sometimes more. We're a small shop. At least 3-4 times a day, we get people through the door. We get numerous phone calls. I'm seeing prices online. My 1990s Pro Set hockey cards. There's someone asking $1,000 for a PSA 10 Wayne Gretzky. I want $600 for this card. You can make the $400. Well, that's not how it works. So the problem is bulk grading. Bulk grading was started with PSA because they weren't, from what I understand, they issued the bulk grading as a category due to the fact that it was to do in their downtime. They were grading like key rookie cards, valuable cards such as that. But they said, well, what do we do when we don't have any of these key rookie cards to grade? Well, why don't we offer bulk services? People can grade maybe like second year cards or anything that they want, basically, and we'll do it cheap so that we'll get plenty of work out of it. I think, depending on the size of your account, I think we were paying $9 a card if we were over a certain amount of cards. I'm sure there's people out there that get better deals than that, but what had happened was when the boom hit maybe a year or two ago, and bulk were hitting, and Pokemon had a lot to do with this, but bulk were hitting just astronomical numbers, where they had millions of cards in backlog, and it was all under bulk grading services, basically. So the problem is, people were sending in LeBron base cards, they were sending in, Michael Jordan hoops cards, that weren't even in good shape, that just because, they're not worth anything unless they're graded, and that's a problem. So what's going to happen? So what I would like to see happen, and we're here to talk about this as well, what I would like to see happen on PSA's side, also from us. I'm just reading some of the comments here. With this happening, companies such as MNT will gain traction. So those companies are busy as well. So BGS, Beckett Grading Services, are also extremely swamped. MNT, Joey brings up, is a Canadian company. They're starting to gain a little bit of momentum. We've got a few in Canada. KSA is another one. There's other CGC stuff like that in the States where you can send your cards still. I fully expect those companies to be extremely busy in the next 3-4 months as they kind of take on the bulk of grading now that PSA has halted. But I don't think it's going to fix the problem. So what needs to happen? In my honest opinion, what needs to happen is PSA, they tried to increase the prices. They tried to increase the prices on value, which is bulk, to $20 a card, and it didn't work. So the market is basically saying, like, hey, we're still willing to pay $20 to grade a base card, because it didn't stop. They're busier than ever. Again, with the comment, more cards in the last 3 days than the last 3 months combined. That to me just blows my mind, because I know how busy they were prior to that. Like tens of millions of cards coming in, millions of cards a day probably. So what do you do? So I would like to see PSA maybe implement some stricter guidelines on what they're willing to accept for grading. Basically, if you have to get a PSA 10 for this card to be worth $30 or $40, maybe you take that card off the docket. Maybe that's a card that we're not allowed to be grading right now. A lot of times people will send in, I know Pokemon's big for this, they'll send in $3 holo cards to get a PSA 10 on because back when you were grading these cards for $7 to $9 in bulk grading services, you could turn that card into, and Pokemon's an easy grade sometimes, so you could turn a 9 or a 10 into a $30, $40 bill. That needs to stop. So, again, is that fair to collectors that are doing that? Maybe PSA needs to restrict that service. Maybe those services can now go to a company like in Canada with MNT. Maybe they take up that kind of the hobby. But I think PSA being the leader in grading services, in my opinion, this is what we need to do. So, and they also have their guide, which tells you this is how they can control it. They have their guide that tells you what a card's worth once it's graded. So anything that's not worth at least $50 once it's graded gets wiped off the subscriptions, or gets wiped off the menu to be able to be graded. That's one way to combat this. Marvin brings up a good question. Do I think they'll get through 10 million cards by July? I don't work there, so I don't know how many cards are pumping out a day. I do know that things were extremely far behind. We just recently sent in a Wayne Gretzky for Express service, Wayne Gretzky rookie card, a service that usually takes less than a week. By the way, it doubled in price. It went from I believe $100 for that Express service to $300 now, and it's taking a month now. So we'd like to see that come back down. Like, that's something that it's not realistic for collectors to have to pay that kind of money and still wait. And it's happening everywhere right now. The sports card, the hobby is booming. We're going to talk about this in a minute about what's this going to mean down the road. But I honestly think they're going to try and get through as much as they can, and so it's manageable. What I'm afraid of is I'm going to be ready. You're probably going to be ready. July 1st hits, and I think the system's going to crash. I think July 1st, when they go live to start accepting online orders again, because you have to fill out the online portion, their system will literally crash. There will be so many people in the last 3-4 months that are waiting to get those cards submitted. It's coming down. So I don't know how they're gonna maintain that, but it's very interesting to see. Like, they're never gonna get ahead of this problem until the hobby slows down. I think that's where they're at. I don't think they're ever going to get ahead of it until things calm down a little bit. And I don't think things are going to calm down until base cards stop being submitted and being resold for $50. That's the end of it. I think that's the only logical step that they can take, is limit the cards that they actually accept. Key cards, yes. Now, this is interesting because people will say, well, then you can't submit Topps flagship rookie cards, such as, like, this year we've got several rookies, Baum, and a whole bunch of guys, right? So you'll see the decline in flagship rookies come down, because technically they're only a $4 to $10 card raw. But I think in that case, because it's a key rookie card, I think PSA will accept that. That's what I would do. I would think they would accept any flagship rookie cards. Like, Prism rookie cards are still fine, but not base cards. Like, we don't want $2 insert cards of LeBron. We don't want $2 insert cards of Doncic. I don't care that it's a second year or third year card. When we can get back to normal levels again, sure, submit those cards like they allowed you to do in the first place with bulk services. That's what it was invented for. Sean's saying August for regular subs. That's probably correct. That's the other thing. Not all services are due to come back online in July. We might see all services finally get up and running again a few months after that. And I think bulk services will be the absolute last service to be up and running again. And I think it'll be all staged. So Sean brings up another interesting point on how we can probably combat this, is maybe eliminate these orders with 10,000 cards as well. And that does happen. You might not believe that, but people do send in 10, 20,000 cards at a time. But he thinks that maybe a max for an individual collector, maybe that's what we need to go to. They've already shut down subscriptions. That was the first thing that kind of went away. Like, you can no longer buy a subscription. I'm hoping, being a shop owner and the fact that I got in early, that my subscription will be renewed for the next year. Hoping. We bought the platinum, I think it was, where you got 15 free or whatever. It's the highest they had. So there's things that you can do. It's definitely an interesting thing going forward. So I wanted to talk about what does this mean for the future. We've talked about maybe when things are going to come back up for PSA. Maybe what's going to happen as far as how they combat the bulk. But with the gap in grading, how does this affect the pricing of these cards? I'm just reading some comments here. Do you know what 20-day submissions were doing before the pause? If you sent cards in December for 20-day submission, you should have those back by now. That's how far back we are. So I sent a little bit lesser value. I sent a Patrick Waugh rookie card in. Took 6 weeks. $75 submission at the time. I think that was the Express. I think it was a 15 business day turnaround, or a 20 day, I believe. Maybe that was what it was. But I sent it in right around the same time frame, and it's back. So it came back last week, but it did take about 6 weeks. But it wasn't for 20-day sub, 60 days, Sean's saying. Sean does a lot of subscribing, so he can answer questions as well. So thank you for tuning in, Sean. What do I think is going to happen with the value of grading cards, or graded cards? I think we're at an all-time high in the hobby right now. I think the fascination with graded cards will eventually come to an end. I think key rookie cards will still have their place in the hobby as graded cards. But I'm telling you right now, these fourth-year base cards, they're eventually going to level out. You know what I mean? I know huge players like LeBron, Michael Jordan, stuff like that. Maybe due to the fact that not everybody can afford a rookie card, they can't even maybe afford a second-year card. But there's only a few guys where those more. I'm talking modern day. Vintage is vintage. Like it's such a rare commodity that you want to grade a Mickey Mantle from 1959 if you have one in shape to grade, because those cards just don't exist like they do in the hockey world. What I'm talking about is if somebody were Connor McDavid is a 2015-16 rookie card. If somebody were to grade his 2020-21 Upper Deck base card, I think that's completely moronic or idiotic. I think most people would agree with me on that. There's literally hundreds of thousands of these cards. There's really no reason for it in the graded world. We need to cut back on that kind of stuff. So I think those cards, if people are grading them and they're getting $40, $50 for a 9 or a 10 right now, I think those 9s and 10s are going to be a waste down the road, and people will just say enough's enough. That's a $3 card. You're basically just paying for the slab at this point. Hey, no problem, Marvin. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. Hopefully you're enjoying the program, and if you had a chance to, like and subscribe to the channel. We're here all the time. We do singles night. We do a whole bunch of stuff on the show. So, I think when the bubble burst, and it will burst, that's something we can talk about on another show, but when the bubble burst, and it will, I think we're going to see a lot of these non-essential graded cards absolutely plummet in prices. So if I were a collector or someone submitting right now, with the current wait times of PSA, I sit here every day. I've got nice Gretzky cards from the 80s, worth grading probably, but here's the thing. If it's going to take me 9 months to get them back, will they still be selling for these prices in 9 months? And how many of those cards are actually being graded as we speak? The population reports are going to skyrocket for everything. So a graded 9, 4th, 5th year Gretzky card might not be $1,000 anymore. There might be 1,000 of them hit the market all at the same time. That drops that card down to $100. And if I can sell it raw right now on eBay in real nice shape for like $80 and save the subscription fee, you gotta weigh it, folks. That's what I'm saying. You gotta weigh the options. Right now I'm selling a ton of raw cards on eBay because people are thinking that they're gonna send them into PSA and make a mint on them. But yeah, that Jeff brings up a good point. Let's get back to grading older cards and key rookies. I think that's where the solution is of the problem. I think that's something that we need to focus on, and we're at fault. We're at fault. You're at fault for sending in cards that technically probably shouldn't be graded, but you're grading them because why would you pass up the money? The market is so hot right now, but at the end of the day, when supply finally outweighs demand, prices start to come down, and that's something that we need to worry about in the grading market. And it's not just PSA. Beckett's also grading a ton of cards right now. All these other companies on the US side of things, a lot of companies here in Canada. Pokemon is huge as well. We'll see where we go from here, but I like that PSA took the step to shut things down to try and catch up. It will affect the market, obviously, in the long run, probably. But let's see where things go in the next 6 months when they start to get some of these backlog cards out and see what the prices look like. But that's it for tonight. If anybody has any more questions, I'll hang around for another minute or two. But I want to thank Brandon for shooting the video tonight. Definitely check us out tomorrow night on Singles Night. We do 50 cards in 50 minutes. It's something that like you've never seen before if you haven't subscribed to the channel. It's like speed dating for sports cards. You have 1 minute to decide. But anyways, a lot of cool programming coming up in April. I want to thank you guys for showing up tonight and maybe learning something about the current crisis with PSA. And it was a lot of fun to talk to you guys about this. Thank you guys for the questions, and definitely give us those thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Take care, everybody.